Chosen one, something extraordinary is happening right now. While you've been sleeping, praying, and simply living your life, there's been a war raging in the spiritual realm. A war you never asked for. A war you didn't even know existed. But guess what? You're winning. Every single person who plotted against you is about to face divine retribution. Every spell they cast is boomeranging back. Every trap they set is collapsing on their own heads. The very forces they tried to use against you have turned their weapons around. And the most beautiful part? You don't even have to lift a finger. This isn't just karma catching up. This is the universe itself declaring that you are under divine protection. This is your ancestors rising from beyond the veil, rolling up their sleeves and saying, "Not today, not our child." This is ancient forces awakening to defend something precious, something irreplaceable, something they've been guarding for lifetimes. You're about to discover why they've been so desperate to destroy you, why they've tried everything from black magic to betrayal, why they've recruited armies of people to come against you. The answer will change everything you thought you knew about yourself. For months you felt it. Something was off. People you trusted started acting strange. Friends became distant. Family members turned cold. You couldn't put your finger on it, but there was this underlying current of hostility following you everywhere you went. You started questioning yourself. Maybe you were paranoid. Maybe you were imagining things. Maybe you really were the problem everyone seemed to think you were. But deep down, your spirit kept whispering the truth. This wasn't random. This was organized. This was intentional. What you didn't know was that a group of people had been meeting, planning, strategizing about how to bring you down. They tried everything they could think of in the natural realm first, spreading rumors, sabotaging opportunities, turning people against you. But nothing stuck. You kept rising. You kept prospering. You kept shining brighter no matter what they threw at you. That's when they decided to go deeper, darker. They started dabbling in things that should never be touched. Black magic, curses, binding spells. They even reached out to practitioners, spending their money and selling pieces of their souls to try to stop what God had ordained for your life. They've been working around the clock. Different practitioners, different methods, all focused on one target, you. They thought if they hit you from every angle simultaneously, surely something would break through your defenses. Surely they could find a crack in your armor. But here's what they didn't understand. You weren't just protected by luck or positive thinking. You were shielded by forces they couldn't even comprehend. Ancient bloodlines, ancestral power, divine appointment. They weren't just fighting you. They were fighting the very fabric of destiny itself. Here's something they hoped you'd never discover. Some of you aren't even living under your true identity. Documents were stolen when you were young. Social security numbers were switched. Birth certificates were altered. Someone in your own family participated in erasing who you really are. Why would they do this? Because your real name carries power. Your authentic bloodline holds authority. Your true heritage connects you to resources and knowledge they desperately wanted to keep from you. By changing your identity, they thought they could cut you off from your spiritual inheritance. But energy doesn't lie. DNA doesn't forget. Your ancestors know exactly who you are regardless of what papers say. The universe recognizes your true frequency, no matter what name you're using. That's why their identity theft has never really worked. You've probably felt this your whole life, like you didn't quite fit in your own family, like there were secrets everyone knew except you, like pieces of your personal history never added up correctly. That wasn't paranoia. That was your spirit recognizing the deception. Some of you need to demand DNA tests, not just for curiosity, but because there are legal inheritances and family properties that rightfully belong to you. There are trust funds and insurance policies with your real name on them. There are bloodline connections that would change everything you thought you knew about yourself. The people who stole your identity are panicking right now. They know their fraud is about to be exposed. They know you're starting to ask questions they can't answer. They know that once the truth comes out, they'll face criminal charges for identity theft and fraud. There's something in your blood they're terrified of, something encoded in your very DNA that threatens everything they stand for. You carry information, knowledge, ancient wisdom that's been dormant, waiting for the right moment to activate. These people don't want you to remember who you really are. They don't want you to access the power that's been sleeping in your cells for generations. They've been trying to keep you distracted, confused, and disconnected from your true identity because they know what happens when you fully awaken. Some of you have been having dreams, visions, sudden downloads of information that seem to come from nowhere. Your intuition has been sharper. Your spiritual gifts have been intensifying. You're starting to see through people's masks. This terrifies them, because once you fully step into your power, their whole system becomes obsolete. Their control mechanisms stop working. Their manipulations become transparent. Their dark practices lose their grip on reality itself. They know you're not just another person walking around unconscious and controllable. You're a disruptor, a game changer, someone who's going to expose truths they've spent centuries trying to hide. That's why they've been so desperate to stop you before you fully wake up. But it's too late. The activation has already begun. Every attack they've sent has only accelerated your awakening. Every spell they've cast has only strengthened your connection to the divine. They've been trying to dim your light, but all they've done is charge your battery. If this message hits your spirit, hype this video so more chosen ones like you can find it. The most painful part of this whole situation is discovering that some of your own family members have been involved. Not just passive bystanders, but active participants. Planning meetings happened in houses you've eaten dinner in. Strategies were discussed by people who claim to love you. This betrayal cuts deeper than anything strangers could do. When your own blood turns against you, it creates a special kind of trauma. You start questioning every childhood memory, every family gathering, every moment of supposed love and support. But here's what you need to understand. The people who betrayed you were never really your family in the spiritual sense. Family is about loyalty, protection, and genuine care. What they showed you was just biological connection without heart connection. Your real family exists in the spiritual realm. Ancestors who actually love you. Soul family members you haven't met yet. Divine beings who've been watching over you since before you were born. The family members who betrayed you are about to face consequences that will ripple through their entire lives. Their children will turn against them. Their marriages will fall apart. Their finances will crumble. Their health will deteriorate. They violated one of the most sacred spiritual laws by betraying their own bloodline. Some of them are already trying to reach out to you now. Fake apologies, attempts to reconcile, claims that they were forced or manipulated into participating. Don't fall for it. They made their choice when it counted. Let them live with the consequences. Your ancestors saw this coming long before you were born. They've been preparing for this moment across multiple lifetimes. When the attacks started intensifying, they didn't just sit back and watch. They activated every form of protection available in the spiritual realm. Angels were assigned to your case, not just guardian angels but warrior angels, beings of pure light who specialize in spiritual warfare. They've been working in shifts, maintaining a constant barrier around your energy field. Every curse that gets sent your way hits this barrier and bounces back to sender with compound interest. Your bloodline guardians have been pulling strings in ways you can't even imagine. Doors that should have closed stayed open. Opportunities that should have dried up kept flowing. People who should have betrayed you found themselves unable to follow through. Accidents that were planned for you somehow missed their mark completely. But the most powerful protection you have is something they never saw coming: your own light. See, when someone is truly connected to divine source energy, they become like a spiritual mirror. Whatever energy gets sent to them automatically gets reflected back. It's not something you have to do consciously, it's built into your energetic blueprint. Every time they've tried to curse you, they've actually been cursing themselves. Every spell they've cast has rebounded onto their own lives. Every trap they've set has become their own prison. They've been working overtime to destroy themselves, and they don't even realize it. The universe has been keeping a detailed record of every attack, every manipulation, every lie, every harmful intention. And now it's time for the balance to be restored. Contabenchi, right now as you're absorbing this, their world is falling apart. The very people they trusted to help them are turning against them. Practitioners who took their money are refusing to work with them anymore. Some are even warning them to stop what they're doing before it's too late. Relationships they thought were solid are cracking under pressure. Family members who were part of their schemes are starting to distance themselves. Business partnerships are dissolving. Legal troubles are mounting. Health issues are manifesting. Everything they built on a foundation of deception is crumbling. They're starting to realize they made a catastrophic mistake when they decided to come for you. But it's too late to stop what they've set in motion. The spiritual laws they violated don't have a return policy. The forces they awakened don't take back their judgments. Some of them are trying to make amends now, reaching out with fake apologies, attempting to reverse what they've done. But the wheels of divine justice are already in motion. You don't get to play with fire for months or years and then suddenly decide you don't want to get burned. The most desperate ones are trying even harder now, throwing everything they have left at you in one final attempt to change the outcome. But all they're doing is sealing their own fate. Every additional attack just adds more weight to the scales of justice. Watch over the next few months. You'll start hearing about unexpected deaths, sudden illnesses, financial ruin, legal problems, relationship disasters, mental breakdowns. One by one, everyone who participated in trying to destroy you will face consequences they never imagined possible. What you're dealing with isn't just a random group of bitter people. This is connected to something much larger and more organized. Secret societies that have existed for centuries. Orders that pass down their hatred of chosen ones from generation to generation. These groups have resources most people can't imagine. Government connections, corporate funding, international networks. They've been tracking bloodlines like yours for hundreds of years. They have members in positions of power. Judges, politicians, business leaders, religious figures, people who can manipulate systems and institutions to work against chosen ones. That's why some of you have faced unusually difficult legal battles or bureaucratic nightmares that made no logical sense. But here's what they never calculated. Divine protection operates on a level that's higher than any human institution. Spiritual laws override earthly laws when someone is truly under heaven's covering. Their connections and resources mean nothing when they're working against the fundamental structure of creation itself. Some of these society members are about to be exposed publicly. Scandals are about to break that will reveal their true nature to the world. Secret meetings will be recorded. Private conversations will be leaked. Financial transactions will be investigated. Their whole network is about to come crashing down. This is the darkest part of what you've been protected from. Some of these groups don't just hate chosen ones. They actively sacrifice children who carry chosen bloodlines. They believe that by taking the life of a spiritually powerful child, they can absorb some of that power for themselves. Your protection as a child was miraculous in ways you probably never realized. Car accidents that should have killed you but somehow didn't. Illnesses that should have been fatal but mysteriously cleared up. Dangerous situations you walked away from without a scratch. Some of you survived actual kidnapping attempts. You might remember being approached by strangers who seemed friendly but made you feel uncomfortable. Adults who asked too many questions about your family. Situations where you felt an overwhelming urge to run even though nothing obvious was wrong. These weren't random predators. These were organized efforts to remove you from the equation before you could grow up and fulfill your purpose. The fact that you're here listening to this means every single one of their attempts failed. Every trap they set for your child self was overturned by divine intervention. Now that you're an adult, they can't use the same tactics, but they're still desperate to stop you before you can have children of your own. They know that chosen ones tend to have chosen children. They're trying to prevent the next generation of awakened beings from being born. Part of what you've been dealing with goes beyond traditional curses and spells. Some of these groups have access to technology that can influence thoughts and emotions from a distance. Frequency weapons, psychotronic devices, methods of remote influence that most people don't even know exist. You might have experienced this as sudden mood changes that didn't make sense. depression that came out of nowhere, anxiety that seemed to have no logical source, thoughts that felt foreign to your normal mental patterns. They were literally trying to drive you insane using artificial methods, but your natural spiritual shielding has been protecting you from the worst of it. What should have completely broken your mind only caused temporary discomfort. What should have driven you to suicide only made you feel slightly off for a few days. Some of you developed unusual coping mechanisms without realizing why. Meditation practices that you felt drawn to, musical frequencies that made you feel better, specific foods that seemed to restore your energy. Your intuition was guiding you toward natural countermeasures for artificial attacks. The technology they've been using against you is about to malfunction in spectacular ways. Devices are going to break down, operators are going to get sick, funding is going to be cut. Their whole program is about to be shut down by forces they can't control or understand. They didn't target you randomly. They've been watching you for a long time, trying to figure out how to stop what's coming, because you're not just living your life, you're fulfilling a mission that was planned before you were born. You carry ancient teachings in your DNA, information that's supposed to be shared with humanity at exactly the right moment. Wisdom that will expose lies and reveal truths that certain groups have been desperate to keep hidden. You're here to break generational curses and shatter systems of control. Some of you don't even know this consciously yet. You just know you feel different. You see things others don't see. You question things others accept without thinking. You have an inner knowing that there's more to life than what you've been told. Others of you have been getting downloads for years. Dreams about ancient civilizations, visions of future timelines, sudden understanding about how energy works, abilities that seem to come from nowhere. You've been trying to make sense of it all, not realizing you were being prepared for something much bigger than you imagined. The enemy knows exactly what you're capable of once you fully step into your role. They've seen the prophecies. They understand the timeline. They know that once you activate completely, their time is up. That's why they've been so focused on stopping you specifically. But here's the thing about divine destiny. It doesn't matter who opposes it. It doesn't matter what forces try to prevent it. It's going to happen anyway. You could try to run from it yourself and still end up exactly where you're supposed to be. That's how powerful the pull of true purpose really is. Trompambachis real. Look back at your family history. How many people in your bloodline struggled with the same patterns? How many generations dealt with poverty, addiction, illness, or relationship dysfunction? How many of your ancestors felt like they were fighting invisible battles they could never quite win? You're the one who's going to end all of that. Not just for yourself, but for every person who comes after you. The bloodline stops with you and gets rewritten from this point forward. Future generations will look back at your life as the turning point, when everything changed. This is why the attacks have been so intense. Breaking generational curses isn't a casual weekend project. It requires someone with enough spiritual power to stand against centuries of accumulated negative energy. Someone with enough divine backing to override patterns that have been locked in place for lifetimes. Every ancestor who never got the chance to break free is cheering you on from the other side. Every future descendant who will live in freedom because of what you're doing right now is sending you energy across time. You're not just fighting for yourself, you're fighting for your entire lineage. The people trying to stop you understand this. They know that if you succeed, their influence over your family line is finished forever. They know that other bloodlines will start awakening too, following your example. They're trying to stop a spiritual revolution, and you're the spark that's going to light the fire. But they're too late. The process has already begun. Other chosen ones are awakening all around the world. The collective consciousness is shifting. The old systems of control are losing their grip, and there's nothing anyone can do to stop what's coming. Part of what's happening involves sacred relationships, divine partnerships that were meant to change the world, soulmate connections that carry massive creative and spiritual power when they come together properly. The enemy has been working overtime to prevent these unions, sending karmic partners to distract and drain chosen ones, creating love triangles and relationship drama. using sexual energy and emotional manipulation to keep people scattered and confused. Some of you have been dealing with obsessive ex-partners who won't let go, stalking behavior, threats, people who seem determined to destroy your happiness even if they can't have you themselves. This isn't random jealousy. This is spiritual warfare targeting your ability to experience true love. Others have been cycling through relationship after relationship, never quite finding the right fit. Everyone you meet seems to have major issues or hidden agendas. You start wondering if healthy love even exists, or if you're just destined to be alone. What you don't realize is that your true divine partner is going through their own awakening process somewhere else. They're probably dealing with their own set of attacks and obstacles. Both of you are being prepared separately, so that when you finally come together, nothing can tear you apart. The timing of these sacred unions is everything. Come together too early, before you're both fully awakened, and the relationship becomes another battlefield. Wait for divine timing, and you become an unstoppable force for positive change in the world. Your enemies know this. That's why they've been throwing so many distractions and false connections in your path. They're trying to exhaust your heart and make you give up on love entirely. But their plan is backfiring. Every fake relationship has only made you clearer about what you actually want and need. The level of coordination in these attacks isn't accidental. There are people who have turned dark magic into a science. They study energy patterns, they track lunar cycles, they use technology to amplify their spells and coordinate timing across multiple practitioners. Some of these groups have resources you wouldn't believe: government connections, corporate funding, international networks. They're not just random people dabbling in witchcraft. They're organized, they're funded, they're sophisticated. But here's what they still don't understand about how spiritual energy actually works. Light always overrides darkness when the source is pure enough. Love always conquers hate when it's rooted in divine truth. Good always defeats evil when it's backed by universal law. All their technology and coordination and resources mean nothing when they're working against the fundamental structure of reality itself. They're trying to use artificial methods to override natural spiritual laws. It's like trying to make water flow uphill permanently. You might manage it temporarily with enough force, but eventually nature reasserts itself. Your protection doesn't come from matching their methods or trying to out-manipulate the manipulators. Your protection comes from staying aligned with truth and letting the universe handle the defense systems. You don't fight darkness with more darkness. You fight darkness by shining brighter. Every time you choose love over fear, you strengthen your natural immunity to their attacks. Every time you respond to hatred with compassion, you build your spiritual armor. Every time you stay in peace instead of reacting to drama, you become more untouchable. What these people never calculated was the compound interest on spiritual debt. Every harmful action creates an energy that has to be balanced somewhere. When you send out curses and they don't stick to your intended target, they don't just disappear. They bounce back to you with additional force. It's like throwing a ball at a brick wall. The harder you throw it, the faster it comes back to you. They've been hurling spiritual attacks at your divine protection for months or years. All that energy is about to return to them simultaneously. Some will face sudden health crises that doctors can't explain. Others will lose everything they worked for in a matter of weeks. Relationships will implode. Secrets will be exposed. Legal troubles will multiply. Mental stability will crumble. And they'll have no idea why everything in their life is falling apart at once. The most tragic part is that some of them will blame you for their problems. They'll say you're the one doing black magic on them. They'll accuse you of exactly what they've been doing to you. But anyone with real spiritual discernment will be able to see the truth. You won't have to defend yourself or explain what's happening. The evidence will speak for itself. Their lives will become cautionary tales that other people use to remind themselves why you don't mess with chosen ones who are under divine protection. But here's the most important part. You won't feel good about their suffering. That's how you'll know your heart is pure. When justice comes for people who tried to destroy you, you'll feel sad that it had to come to this. You'll wish they had chosen a different path. That's the difference between you and them. Some of what you've been dealing with connects to larger systems of oppression. The same groups trying to destroy chosen ones individually are also working to maintain systems that imprison, exploit, and control entire populations. They profit from keeping people trapped in cycles of poverty, addiction, and incarceration. They make money from human suffering. When someone like you starts awakening others to their true power and potential, it threatens their entire business model. That's why some of you have faced unusually harsh legal consequences for minor infractions, why you've been targeted by law enforcement in ways that seemed excessive or unfair. Unsusting Maikanari, cutting into your regularly scheduled Chosen One programming for just a moment. We are the founders of the Obsidian Inner Order and the Astral Atom Network, and we're done playing nice. We're in a spiritual war, you know it, we know it, and we're out here bleeding for this mission full time. I'm hungry for fourth-dimensional Archon blood, but we need the ammunition. So listen, when you join the Inner Order, you're not just supporting us, you're getting access to exclusive tools they never wanted you to have, psychic self-defense training, targeted individual intel, spiritual warfare tactics they scrub from the internet, and every week, we meet in secret, chosen ones only on Zoom. No filters, no fluff, just real gnosis, real family, real power. It's a 360-degree win. You get what you need, we get to keep fighting. So don't just watch, drop a like, share this video to everyone you know now, and join the Obsidian Inner Order. Let's finish what we started. Link in the description. Let's freaking go. But divine justice operates on a higher level than human courts. Every unjust sentence these corrupt officials have imposed is about to come back on their own heads. Every innocent person they've imprisoned is about to be vindicated. Every abuse of power they've committed is about to be exposed and punished. Some of these officials are about to face federal investigations, corruption charges, evidence of their connections to criminal organizations is going to surface, their careers are going to end in disgrace, and some of them are going to end up in the very prisons where they sent innocent people. Part of their strategy involved corrupting your physical health to weaken your spiritual power. They've been working with people in the medical establishment to misdiagnose you, overprescribe medications, and recommend procedures that would damage your energy system. Some of you have had doctors who seemed more interested in keeping you sick than helping you heal. Medical professionals who dismissed your symptoms or gave you treatments that made things worse. Healthcare workers who seemed to have personal agendas rather than genuine concern for your well-being. This wasn't just medical incompetence. This was coordinated targeting designed to keep you in a weakened state where you couldn't access your full spiritual abilities. But your body's natural healing abilities have been working overtime to counteract their sabotage. Medications that should have caused serious side effects somehow didn't affect you as expected. Procedures that should have been dangerous somehow went smoothly. Your immune system has been supernaturally enhanced to protect you from their medical attacks. The healthcare professionals who participated in targeting you are about to face serious consequences. Medical license reviews, malpractice lawsuits, criminal investigations. Their careers are going to be destroyed, and some of them are going to face prison time for their participation in organized attacks against innocent people. Everything that's been happening to you personally is connected to something much bigger. The entire planet is going through a spiritual upgrade. Old systems are breaking down to make room for new ones. Lies that have been accepted as truth for centuries are being exposed. People are waking up to their own power and divine connection. The groups that have been trying to stop you are the same ones trying to prevent this global awakening. They profit from keeping humanity unconscious and divided. They need people to feel small and powerless and dependent on external systems for survival. Your personal victory over their attacks is part of a much larger victory, happening simultaneously all around the world. Every chosen one who breaks free from their control systems makes it easier for the next person to do the same. Every individual who steps into their power strengthens the collective field. Trontabanshi. This is why your protection has been so strong. You're not just one person living your life. You're part of a spiritual army that's been training for this moment across multiple lifetimes. When they attack you, they're attacking the entire network, and the entire network responds to defend its members. The frequency of the planet is literally changing. Fear-based energy is becoming harder to maintain. Love-based energy is becoming easier to access. People who've built their lives on manipulation and control are finding that their old methods don't work anymore. You've been feeling this shift in your own life. Things that used to upset you don't bother you as much. People who used to trigger you seem less powerful. Situations that used to create drama resolve themselves more easily. You're operating from a higher frequency, and it's becoming your new normal. Part of why you've been so heavily attacked is because of what you represent for future generations. The children being born now are coming in with abilities and awareness that previous generations couldn't access. They're going to need guides who understand both the old world and the new world. You're being prepared to be one of those guides. Every attack you've survived has made you stronger and wiser. Every betrayal you've endured has taught you how to spot deception from miles away. Every spell that's been cast against you has shown you how spiritual protection really works. These children aren't going to struggle with the same limiting beliefs that have held humanity back for thousands of years. They're going to know from birth that they're powerful spiritual beings having a human experience. They're going to expect magic and miracles to be normal parts of life. The old systems of education, religion, and social control won't work on these kids. They're going to need mentors who can teach them how to navigate a world where spiritual abilities are common and accepted. They're going to need examples of people who've successfully made the transition from the old paradigm to the new one. That's you. That's your role. That's why your protection has been so absolute. The universe needs you intact and fully awakened for what's coming next. Every child who grows up knowing their own power will be partly your legacy. Every young person who refuses to accept limitation will be building on the foundation you're laying right now. Your enemies can see this future too. They know that once these children reach adulthood, their reign is over permanently. That's why they've been so desperate to stop you now, before you can fully step into your teaching role. But they're too late. The children are already here, and they're already learning from your example. As we reach the end of this revelation, understand that everything I've shared with you isn't just theory or wishful thinking. This is spiritual reality, operating according to laws that are older than civilization itself. What I've described is already happening. The only question is whether you're ready to accept the magnitude of what's taking place. Right now, while you're listening to these words, the final phase is beginning. Every person who participated in trying to destroy you is about to face the full weight of divine justice. Every curse they sent is returning to them multiplied. Every trap they set is about to spring on their own feet. You don't have to do anything to make this happen. You don't have to cast spells or perform rituals or seek revenge. Your job is to stay in your lane, keep raising your frequency, and watch the universe handle the rest. Justice doesn't need your help. It just needs you to get out of the way. Some of you will be tempted to warn them, to try to save people who spent months or years trying to destroy you. Resist that temptation. They made their choices with full knowledge of what they were doing. They have to face the consequences of those choices. Your mercy can't override universal law. Others will be tempted to gloat or celebrate when you see them falling apart. Resist that temptation too. Stay in your heart. Feel compassion for their suffering while maintaining clear boundaries about what you will and won't tolerate in your life going forward. The most important thing you can do right now is prepare for your new reality. Start planning for the life you want to build once all the opposition is removed. Begin training for the role you're meant to play in the new world that's emerging. Focus on becoming the person you were born to be. Your victory was never in question. The outcome was determined before the battle even began. You are a chosen one, protected by forces that existed before time began, and will continue long after this world transforms into something new. Every attack they sent has only proven how powerful you really are. The cult is dissolving. The coven is scattered. Their practitioners are fleeing. Their spells are backfiring. Their plans are crumbling. Their time is up, and your time is just beginning. Welcome to your destiny, chosen one. The real adventure starts now.